All right, let's see. Hey, y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and today I'm going to try and live stream with my Mac. I'm just trying something a little different. Yeah, I can tell already. Need some more light. How does that look? Ooh, it's a little overexposing. Got too much light right here, don't I? All right. I'm going to back this off some. Let's see. Intensity. Let's bring it down there. That'll add some, but not make it so that gone bright. It's crazy. It's still a little bit hot. Okay, let's see. Well, how y'all doing? I figured I'd live stream for a little bit because I haven't done a live stream in a couple of weeks or months. It's been a while. Either way, man, that's still hot. Okay, how about that? Maybe that'll do it. Yeah, that's pretty good there. Well, that's a long time to get started. Carmen, how you doing? Yeah, the storm that came through. Yes, it rained here like pouring water out of a bucket all day long, and it started the night before that. It wasn't real bad. We didn't have a lot of wind or anything. But we did have a lot of rain. We have a little stream out here beside the property, and it literally was a raging torrent by this morning. It was pretty impressive. Yeah. Is it headed up your way now? But yeah, the hurricane was really bad. I have some friends that live down on the Gulf Coast, and it destroyed their entire home and the fellas' workshop and everything. But I think they'll be able to put it back together. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, an insect bite on my arm. You can see that little spot. It itches and it's swollen and does weird stuff. I've been in the machine shop all day, so aside from the fact that I cut my finger open, this is called a machine shop Band-Aid. If y'all haven't ever seen one, it's a piece of a shop rag put over the cut and then held on with electrical tape. We always keep a roll of tape in the shop just for this. And it's not there to like provide a clean bandage for the wound. It's there to keep you to apply pressure so it'll quit bleeding. Hey Hassan, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Wow, it's raining hard in Manhattan. Interesting. So what's it? Well, Hassan is from Mobile, right? How did y'all fare with the hurricane coming ashore? It went to y'all's west, but still, you probably got a good bit of the wind from it. Arm itches. Yeah. I ran an engine lathe all day. That short that I posted, I ran that particular machine all day today, and there was a chip stuck to the bottom of my shoe. Well, it was a long spiral about this long, and I'd stepped on it, and it had stuck to my shoe from cutting into the rubber immediately. Hassan says, from Mobile, live in Enterprise, though. Hurricanes are like sunshine here. You get used to them after a while. Woo! I don't know that I could ever get used to that. Oh, that's pretty involved. takes real. You have to be jaded really hard to not like be fazed by something like that. That's we get tornadoes here, and I still get excited when they come through. Excuse me. Yeah, I got the last of those 6 large diameter shafts machine down. Tomorrow I get to cut keyways in them, and then they'll be done and ready for delivery. I'd show you what's under here, but probably needs to be took off and let dry out. Anyways, it's wet. That can't be clean. Let's see. See if it starts bleeding after I pull the Band-Aid off. You know, like I said, the Band-Aid is a piece of electrical tape and a piece of a shop rag. And it was soaking wet. Yeah, it don't even look bad now. But yeah, you can't tell it, but there's a big old cut right through there, and one right through there, and one there, and one here. Looks like 5. I didn't get 7, I got 5. So we'll let that rest. It's fused, so it ain't bleeding actively. Man, it's here. Had 4 tornado warnings last night. Good grief. 3 while I was up in the tower working. Woo, that would be sporty. Hey, Gary, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Did you get a whole bunch of the hurricane? It just rained here like crazy. I'm trying to beat the system. Every time and when a phone call comes in while it's streaming, it locks up the streaming stream. So I'm on my MacBook Pro, and that way if she calls, it shouldn't break down the stream. Just a little rain. Interesting. That is interesting. Well, I was going to talk about mainly lenses. Like, here's my 135 millimeter that I have. I had the little E series version, but I sold it in a lot of the stuff that I sold last fall to get that Leica SL2. And so I kept this one because I actually liked the way this one performed better than I did that little Series E lens. Series E lens was fine. It was a little smaller than this one. This one's pretty bulky to be an f2.8, but compared to that other one, but it does have a beautiful rendering. Now, I don't know. Let's see. No, there's nothing particularly special about it. It's just the way they built it. But it is f2.8. Now, here's the beauty of just humid. Yeah. Since the cloud cover's in, it's not so hot, so the humidity hasn't been such a problem for us. That's something that I've kind of been thankful for this weather moving in, is that it makes it not so miserable. Yeah. But here's a 135 that Grant Gubro sent up from Florida. And if you can tell, I don't know if this is showing up backwards to you guys or not, but it says 135 millimeter f3.5. If it is showing up backwards, I don't know how to fix it. But Sahara dust this coming weekend. What? So it's that time of year again? The dust clouds coming across from Africa? So that'll make for some beautiful sunsets. But he sent it boxed in its original container. I get to do a review of this lens. That's the idea, is he loaned it to me so I could review it, and I'm going to compare it to this one as well. But his is an AI. What's the difference? Oh, I think I know. Ooh. Mine is pre-AI. What is this cap? It says it's a Nikon cap, but it don't fit. Yeah, is it one of them you got to turn the right way? I don't know. This cap don't fit this lens for squat. I think I'm gonna get a different cap. Yeah, that don't work. I put it on, took it off the lens, now I ain't gonna be able to cover it back up. Yeah, this is a pre-AI variant. Huh, interesting. Dang. I don't know what that is in my ear. It has a 7-bladed aperture. And then you got the AI. Look how much smaller it is. It's like half the size. Well, it's an f3.5 as well. Mine's an f2.8, so it's 2/3 of a stop faster. Ah, there we go. I just turned it the wrong way. Now I feel real smart. I love knock on, but their caps suck. Scott Patterson, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Yeah. Most of their lens caps like these. I like these really well. These work good. The ones that look like that, those are pretty nice. You know, they seem to work. But this thing, whatever, this is like some kind of aftermarket one, I think, is what the deal is. Hey, there you go. See, it's not an original nickel cap. It's probably a Sigma or something like that. It even says open and close on it. But yeah, I get to shoot with this little guy. I'm going to shoot it on the Nikon D810. I have been neglecting that camera. I got it out and I took it down to Florida back in January when I went with Delphin and we done wildlife photography. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but I used it down there and I really enjoyed it and it worked really well. So when I got done with that, I kind of shelved it again. I got that SL2 and I shot with it a lot. And in the Z6, I got that the other day. I think I was chatting with Phil and he's got the ZFC now. And yeah, I think he was kind of just cutting up with me. He's like, when you going to get one, And that's the way it is with YouTubers, is they always want to get the latest camera. He had a use case, and so he's looking for a good vlogging rig, and he wants the eye detect autofocus and all that stuff. So he got one mainly for that. He's been doing a little photography with it, but he's been using it mainly as a vlogging camera, was kind of the point. Anyway, long story short, to circle back around, I told him I wasn't going to get one. I have currently, I'm in possession, I think I counted 7 working cameras. And I really am not interested in adding an 8th to that list right now. I have, if I count right, 4 Nikon. I have a Z6, a Z50, as a D810. I still have a D40X, and it still works. It takes photos, and they're not bad images. If you shoot it with strobes, it takes a good image. Then I have 2 Leicas. I have the CL and SL2. And then I still have my Fuji X-T3. Yeah, that's 7 cameras. Man, I got to stop. I just want to shoot. And man, the cameras are so good now. Once you get one, you may as well just keep it. I see a lot of like street photographers that are Instagramming their photos here lately. They're shooting on Fuji X-T1s and X-T2s, and the images are beautiful. You see a lot of that now. People are starting to realize that the camera, the image quality has kind of plateaued. You're not getting, with the greatest release, you're not getting that much more camera for the new release. They're drip feeding new features. I think they're sitting on things like the eye detect autofocus and the eye tracking and video. You notice the Z50 didn't have eye tracking and video, but the ZFC does. And that's, I think they're doing that on purpose just so they can sell new cameras, because they need to sell new cameras or they can't stay in business. So it's kind of their bread and butter. And in all reality, the cameras is kind of where they make their money. You think it would be in the lenses, but this lens is this lens is 50 years old and it still takes amazing images, and I'm using it. So I'm not buying a new 135. And because of that, they're not selling as many lenses. But the camera bodies, that's where they make their money, because the camera is the consumable. And since it runs its course so quickly, they've moved it all the way to the point to a once a year release cycle. We all know what that means. This one will start in just a minute. I haven't videoed in this room in a while. Normally I sit over there and the camera faces that way. Let's see. Oh, y'all been chatting. Let's see. The front camps are funny. Gary Arbuckle says, I was challenged by a buddy to shoot an upcoming wedding with just my Z6 and all my old manual Nikon glass. I don't have the guts, but it would be a challenge, probably fun. Yeah, it would be if you were second shooter, or if you were just allowed to get some candids, to be at the venue, and just whatever photos you get are just extra that they have at their disposal, but they're not relying on your photos, like you said, because it is kind of, it's a once and done thing. You don't go back and do replays to get the photos at a wedding. It's, it's kind of the way it is. So I get why you would have reservations about that. Oh no, that is not what I wanted to do. I'm trying to, nope. Maybe it's this. Enter full screen. There we go. Doing so can only listen. Driving, so I can only listen to the God. There it went. It's running a little. No, it's on time. That one's early. Okay. Eye tracking is overrated. I'm going to try a few shots with them. Yeah, nice. That'd be awesome. Yeah, the whole eye tracking autofocus. I mean, my Z6 does it now with one of the updates, and the Z50 I think does it too. I showed you how much I shoot with the Z50 because I don't remember if it does or not. I think it does, but I haven't used it. I just haven't used it. I still haven't mounted the kit lens on my Z50. The 10 to 20 millimeter lives on it with an F to Z adapter because that's what I use it for, is my vlogging camera. And it does a really good job at that. I like it for that purpose. The other day, I built a vlogging kit. Hey, all right, I'm gonna go get it. You got to see this. Let me grab it. Yeah, here it is. Okay, if I'm trying to travel light and go out. Okay, guys, let's see what she says. Hello. Yeah, I'm live streaming. Yeah. Which freezer? Okay. All right. Let's see. There's waffles. There's loaf of bread. No boxes that I see. No, just a bunch of. I don't see it. There's a 365 whole wheat tandoori naan. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Yeah. What's got? Yeah. Love you, fella. All right, I'm coming back, guys. Well, I went to but the usual calling and breaking down didn't happen this time. I'm going to try a few shots. Yeah, I would. Yeah, especially if you're just on board and they're not interfering. You're not interfering with their work. I would. Yeah, it'd be awesome. and you can get perspectives that they don't get. But yeah, my whole vlogging rig has been condensed to this at times. If I'm just trying to be light and move fast, like if I'm shooting street photography vlogs or something like that, this is my kit now. I have figured this out. I have in here the DJI Osmo Action. It's a great little video camera. The Rocksteady works like a dream. And then the rest of this stuff is, lay that right there. These are little extra wind muffs. This is my lav mic recorder assembly. And I like this thing. The audio out of this thing is incredible. I think this cable's bad because I'm only getting one channel of audio. So I've got a new lav mic bought. I just haven't tested it yet. But yeah, I can just grab this little bag and head out the door, and it works really well for quick grab and go kind of setups. But yeah, I just got it down to that. That's my whole camera bag when I go doing street photography vlogs now. And this thing has a loop so it can fit on your belt. Yeah, it's convenient. Thought I'd share that with you. High focus makes you lazy, in my opinion. I mean, if I was doing portraiture for a living, I would want it because your hit rate goes up, you know, and you're more efficient with your work that way. And so when you go through the culling process, of course, you have more positive images that you can use. So you don't have to like worry that I get this pose or that pose, because you're pretty well gonna get every pose. And I could see the value in it if I was a portrait photographer, or if I was shooting senior portraits, or prom photos or something like that. Yeah, I get it. But for the average enthusiast, it doesn't do you any good. Really doesn't. I mean, I'm not I'm not obsessed with having perfect focus when I shoot street. As long as it's close, it'll work. And it doesn't matter. If I'm telling a interesting story, then perfect focus is kind of not important. At least that's my take on it. I just, everybody has their personal views on that sort of thing. And, some people like tack sharp images on everything. And that's their choice. They can do that if they want. It's a tool in the toolbox, just not the only tool. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. Don Jones, how you doing? Southern California. Y'all have any water? Man, you guys are struggling just to have water, and we're getting plenty of it here. Y'all need the hurricane to roll over you guys. I was out in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Of course, Lake Tahoe is still full of water for the most part, but it's way up in the Sierra Mountains, so there ain't no water in Southern California at all. No. Send it to us. Yeah, no kidding. Dude, I've been watching like the people who are kind of watchdogging the reservoirs, and like most of them are dried up, and they're going to have to start shutting down hydro plants. Somebody was telling me the other day they saw a news broadcast where they were talking about they were going to have to shut down the hydro plants at Lake Mead because there wasn't enough water to drive the turbines. I don't know how high that column of water has to be above the turbines to have the force to spin them. But, if it's only 20 feet tall, it probably ain't enough water pressure to drive them. Gary says, I thought all the Californians were in Texas. AK Kelly 65. Hey, from South Georgia. Hey, how you doing? It's going good up here. I cut my finger up today. Oh, you can start. It's actually starting to. Let's see if I can get it where you can see it. I got to turn it the right way. If I light it, maybe that'll help. Let's put some light on. What I done was, you get the light. Tough to see. Oh, there you go. See all them lacerations? Yeah. That's what happens when you think you're going to pull a little string or chip off your shoe that you stepped on and stuck into the rubber of your shoe. It just, I mean, it was instantaneous. Blood just started dripping on the floor immediately. Whew. Claire, hey, how you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you for stopping by. I was telling them a while ago, I'll take this one off. It's got this weird little widget on it. I've got a lens to review, the 135 AI. This one has the shoulder to drive the whew, man, I'm struggling to come up with conversational words today. I'm not conversating very well. It's got the shelf that drives the aperture failer on the newer cameras so that you know what the aperture is. Of course, it has the fork for the pen on the older ones too, but this doesn't have the AIS mod, which has the cutout for the plunger in the back, and there's also another mod to the aperture ring. Plus, a lot of times the glass got updated. Some of them it didn't, but some of them it did. That's nice. It has a built-in lens hood. My 135 also has a built-in lens hood. And this is interesting because this is how much bigger a pre-AI f2.8 is over the f3.5 AI. Look at that. They're significantly bigger. There we go. But yeah, to get that 2/3 of a stop of light, the lens gets significantly larger. But Grant Govro sent his lens up for me to review. So I'm going to be very careful with it. That's stuck on with some kind of really good adhesive. Remember back in the day when people had these on their cameras so they didn't lose their lens cap, the little leash? Don says, fill your truck up with water and bring it out to California. They'll stop me at the state line and claim that I've broken some kind of law with it and confiscate it. Yeah. He even boxed it up in the original packaging. This is pretty epic. This here. He's got the bag, and then it's in the foam clamshell. And then the foam clamshell is in the original cardboard carton. Isn't that awesome? Made in Japan. But yeah, I get to review that bad boy. Whew. Jim Worthington, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Let's see. We have high taxes. They would tax you. Okay, I go with that. Joining late, but I was eating with when the alert popped up. That's fine. I mean, I cranked this up with zero warning again. I just had a little free time. I thought I'd launch a live stream, talk for a little while with you guys. And I don't know. I worked all day in the machine shop. And that's what I was talking about. I cut my finger up. Fortunately, it's going to quit bleeding now. But yeah, it's sliced up pretty good. So yeah, no hard feelings. AK Kelly says, probably tell you can't fill your truck with rainwater. Yeah, I think there's another state out west that bans the collection of rainwater. I think it's Washington. one of those states, I want to say banned collecting rainwater. Said you couldn't do it. It was like you got to be able to stop me. I mean, if you don't know I'm collecting it, how are you going to stop me? Hey, I bet it got a lot quieter just then. And on top of all of that, he also sent me 4 other lenses. And I've been working on reviews slowly but surely of all of them. I've gotten 3 done so far, and they're uploaded. I still have to get a thumbnail of one of them, but more to come. Put a cover over your truck. Fill up the bed cover. Just fill it with a pull liner and flood it, and then close the bed cover and sneak across. I wonder what the pickup bed of my truck full of water would weigh. How many gallons would that be? Digital Analog. Greetings from South Africa. Always love watching your review. Man, awesome. Thank you for stopping by. I've always wanted to go to South Africa just to do like wildlife photography and landscape. Man, it's beautiful down there. You guys have been having your share. Oh, excuse me. Low oxygen environment. I'm talking too much. You guys have been having your share of, what do you call it? Political unrest, like we have. I haven't heard much lately, but finger itches. All sorts of stuff. But yeah, I get to review this one next. I've done, like I said, I've done 3 so far. I got this one to go and 1 other telephoto zoom to do. All of them are vintage. All of them are going to be reviewed on the D810 as well. What else have I been doing? Here's something I've been doing. I've been learning Linux. Is that showing up backwards to you guys? Because it's backwards on my screen. And I don't know how to reverse that. Don says, oh, wait. I'll get to digital analog in a minute. It's right. Okay, thanks. Have you gotten a Nikon Z 105 f2.8 S lens? No, I have not, because I think I have 305 millimeter lenses if I count them right. I got the 105 f2.5, 105 f4 micro Nikkor vintage macro lens, and then I've got the 105 f2 DC Nikkor. Yeah, I have 305 millimeters already. No, I ain't buying it. And my 105 f2 DC takes stunning photos. Now, it's not a macro lens, but I have the 200 millimeter macro. Was it 200 millimeter macro Nikkor f4? That thing is like the Hubble telescope on a camera. If you're really into like, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I wasn't up late. I was in the shop all day. I can't think of a reason. Maybe there's some kind of issue with the way I'm sitting or something. Maybe that's it. Maybe I should do that and sit up straighter. Oof. I bet that messed with y'all's head. Let's see. Digital Analog says Kruger National Park is ranked one of the top 10 selfie spots in the world. Wildlife and selfie benefits. Nice. Yeah, it's good here. Okay. Don Jones says 200 millimeter f4 macro. Yeah, I'd have to go get it. It's the 200 millimeter micro Nikkor. It's a screw drive focus, so it's an AFD, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's AFD. It has ED glass and all that jazz in it, but it's about this long. It's a long. Well, it's 200 millimeter, but the focus throw on it. The focus barrel is as wide as this whole section of this lens. You know, just the grip area on that 200 millimeter. No one autofocuses it, from what I understand. Although it would probably do wonderful for portraits. It's the focus throw on it is like almost a full turn, or maybe even more than a full turn. I don't even remember minimum focus distance. It's some kind of ridiculous distance because they measure the minimum focus from the film plane. So you add that 8-inch lens to the front of the camera body, which is another inch and a quarter, you know, and I think minimum focus distance is 12 inches. So you're only like 3 inches in front of the lens, something like that. I don't remember. It's some kind of really short distance, and you get 1-to-1 reproduction with the 200 millimeter. Jim Worthington says the older all metal Nikons are just a pleasure to use. Yeah, I agree with that. It just seems like, yeah, I mean, I just enjoy using the vintage glass. It just has a feel to it. Oh, look. I didn't know this guy had put his social security number, initials, and his phone number on this lens when I bought it. It's all engraved in it right there. Because when you run the focus back in, it covers most of it up. I never noticed it. Interesting. Of course, I bought this lens secondhanded. But yeah, the built-in lens hoods are a nice touch. I like that about vintage lenses, vintage Nikkors in particular. I don't know, Canon may do it too. The hat's in. How you doing? Hello there, matey. I hope you're well. Greetings from the UK. Wow, you're up late. Sir, it's what, about 11:20 there? Maybe midnight? Man, it's late. Don Jones is saying, but you have to machine it for the Z camera. No, I have a dummy adapter that will allow me to mount this lens on my Z camera or any Nikkor lens. I've got the dumb adapter, just a straight coupling, and then I've got F to Z's, which will give me the beauty of the F to Z with a chipped lens. Like that 200 millimeter micro Nikkor is chipped, so it provides EXIF data and it reads the aperture. It has that aperture sensor in it, that the same one that the cameras have, the little lever that, well, I can't show you on this one. There's a little shelf on the aperture ring that trips that lever on the DSLRs, and the newer film cameras the same way, and that's how I read the aperture lens. Well, the F to Z sensor, so it'll detect aperture, and if you set it to minimum aperture, you know, like f/22 or whatever the smallest aperture is, if it has the control lever, the little this thing, this little finger, it'll have that too on the F to Z. Then you can actually, man, I done it again. What is it with me in this lens cap? It goes there. This cap drives me nuts. This is ridiculous. I can't get this stupid lens cap back on. I took it off because there it went. Okay, that lines up with that dot. Okay. There. But it'll actually control the aperture. If you stop it all the way down, then you can actually drive the aperture with the camera, with the thumb wheel on the camera, and it works perfectly. I've used it a bunch of times. Even on those lenses I added the chip to, the that 28 millimeter and I think a 200 millimeter f4 that I chipped, it'll actually control the aperture on it. Now, on them older pre-AI and AI lenses, the aperture lever is non-linear. So the camera has trouble like getting the exposure correctly. Like it will underexpose at a certain point and as you move through that aperture range, it starts overexposing or vice versa. So that's just a function. You just kind of figure it out. If you're going to use that lens, you would definitely learn that, well, if I'm going to stop it down to f8, I need to add a third of a stop of exposure compensation. It's just the way you do it. But on the newer ones, it's all linear timed and it works. It's just something to remember if you do that whole chip mod deal where you do your own chip. The hat says, Jim, they really are. I've got a 50 millimeter f1.4 PAI here, which is gorgeous, and the E-Series 51.8 in the metal body, which is lovely as well. I've had it and the plastic one. I like the metal one better, just personal preference. But the plastic one was lighter and took just as good of an image. And it was kind of neat because I had never had one of those, but it worked just fine. I think I sold it with the D7000. I used it. They jokingly say that the 50 f1.8 is the body cap on the older cameras, and I think that's how I let that camera go. Very nice it is. Yeah. Still up late, still working. The late night battle with a stubborn C++ project, which just is not working properly. I'm winning though. Day 11 of this particular problem. Day 11. Woo! Hey, look, I'm learning this. I'm that far in. I'm interested. I actually have a book on Python in there now. I'm on a Linux book on scripting and macros, or I think they just call it scripts. But I have a couple of projects that I've been trying to figure out how to do with CNC machining centers, and I'm wanting to use either a Raspberry Pi or something, or a little they call it system on a chip computer, single board computer, and looks like those Raspberry Pis will do it, but I have to learn enough about like programming to be able to write my own program. But yeah, I've got some projects that involves that stuff, and it's finally come up to the point where I got to learn how to do it. It's a left-handed lens cap. That's a good one, Don. Oh. That is a good one. David's vlogs and JK lens reviews inspired me to use the older lenses. Who is JK? I honestly don't know. I'm trying to come up with a name that goes with the. I'm interested. You have me curious. But yeah, this this lens, it's a YouTube channel. Oh, okay, cool. I'll look it up and see. But this lens has been on my list I was going to buy one, and Grant already had his, so he sent it up to let me review it. I was like, unfortunately, I got to send it back, but I'm curious to see how it looks. Most likely, anything past f5.6, these will look the same. Maybe this one will be better. Actually, it probably will be a little better because that's one generation newer than mine. And I think when you get into these AIs and AIS lenses, you get into better lens glass than the pre-AIs. And nobody saw that. This cut finger has got me not trying to handle stuff very heavy. So there, we'll set that over there before it gets broken. Ooh, that almost needed terribly. At least it's in its packaging where it's protected with that foam insert. But I have never learned C programming. The only programming I've ever done is I actually did a class in BASIC. Literally, it was basic programming in the 80s when I was doing electronics. And I've written a couple of macros for our G-code generation for the executable programs for the CNC milling machine. It uses a specific language, uses what they call G&M codes, and those like there's certain bits of code in those programs that gets used over and over and over and over and over. So I made some little macros where you just click on a button and it drops that pre-built code in automatically, and so you don't have to mess with any of that. Speeds up G-code programming a lot. But yeah, this whole Linux thing, it's been interesting. I'm really looking forward to playing with it. Seeing if I can figure out how to make it work and how to get those little I/O pins to talk and get inputs fed into them, getting it to do what I want it to do. 6:30. Wow. Man, that was a quick 46 minutes. Wow. Time flies. If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, do it right quick. We're up to 5. Let's see if we can get up to 10 thumbs ups. How many of y'all haven't did it yet? There's 6. I can see them in real time. They're right here on my screen. 8. Wow, dude. We're blowing it up now. Now I can't promise you I'll go buy a new camera if we get to 50. that one day, whoo, that got a little crazy, and I wound up buying a Z50. 9. We're almost there. I had nothing wrong with BASIC. I've never encountered G-code, though I did do some Verilog many years back. Honestly, I reckon if you've done some BASIC, you'll have no problem with the Pi. Okay, good. Yeah, like I said, I got an introduction to Python, and I've been learning. Like I said, I've been learning basically scripting in Linux. You can go in a terminal or open a text editor like Vim or something and compose programs, scripts, and then make them executables with Linux. And so I'm learning that slowly but surely. And I ordered a Rock Pro 64 mainly because it has a PCIe slot, but I'm also going to probably get the Raspberry Pi with I think they make an 8 gigabyte RAM version now, and I don't know if I need 8 gig of RAM. Probably don't, but I'm curious. I'm going to experiment with them. Let's see. Back on subject. Digital Analog says, do you pair your older AI lenses with film cameras much, or is your preference to use them on mirrorless cameras? My preference is to use them on digital cameras. I have some DSLRs. I have a D810 that I enjoy using, so this lens won't work on my D810. I can't use this particular lens on it. I have to use this one on the Z6 or whatever, or mirrorless, like you said, because it being a pre-AI, it doesn't have the cutout for the aperture feeler. These lenses, if you get these older ones, I can't really show you. Here we go with that cap again. Let's see if I can get the light to hit it. You see that yeah, you can tell that ridge protrudes past that silver base. You can kind of see it right there. And it goes all the way around. Okay, it's a full circumferential ring on this aperture. Back in the day, you could send these lenses to Nikon and they would change this aperture ring to one like this. I'll take this out and show you. And they would call it, you could get your lens AI'd at the factory. And there's a second way of getting an AI lens, and it's a hack job with a dribble grinder. And I've seen some of them lenses, and they work. They're ugly, but they work. Where you literally take a Dremel and grind away this shelf until it looks like, let's see if I can get the light to hit it right. Yeah, you can kind of tell it right there. If I get the right. Yeah, you can see how this is interrupted, and it ends here as well on both sides. This edge of this cam, that's become a cam, and they've cut it away below the surface all the way around, except for there's a little feeler over here too. I don't remember what this was for. It's probably a film camera device. On the D810, the only thing it drives is this shelf catches a little lever that drives a sensor in the camera. So as you stop down the lens, it detects that. And if you go into the non-CPU lens data and tell it the largest aperture, which on this lens is f3.5, it knows every click. Well, it knows the movement, the distance you've traveled is what it knows. Then it knows what the aperture is. And that's a really nice feature, because if you stop it all the way down, this lens doesn't have the feature. But if you buy those little AIS, no, it is AFD chips. The Russians make the little Nikkor sensor chip that the newer lenses have. That's it's glued on. You literally glue it on with a fixture. I have some videos of me doing this to a couple of lenses. Then the camera detects the lens and knows what its exif data. And since you told it what the maximum aperture is, the largest aperture, if you stop it all the way down, it'll drive this little lever. That little, let me get it turned around this way. This is probably rudimentary for most people, but let me get on the right side. Man, you gotta get the light just right. Now, there it is. Yeah, that little lever, it'll actually stop the lens down for you. All that to say that. It's kind of neat, but yeah, this one will work on my D810, and I'll shoot it on the D810 some. But but I don't have any. I have one vintage film camera, one vintage Nikon film camera, and it's right here. A vintage Nikkor mat, and it says it's a EL Nikkor mat EL, and it's lived a very hard life. The hot shoe was broken off at some point, and I'm assuming what happened was there was a flash and the camera got dropped and it broke the hot shoe off. Because if you take this electrical tape off, which I have, and this is just a big gaping hole into a sheet metal opening with the wires for the hot shoe are just, they're right there, and it broke it off. But mechanically, the camera works. It has I think it doesn't have a meter. Let's see. Like I could tell, I have to take this out to see through it. I don't remember if it has a battery in it or not. There's nowhere for a battery to go. So if it has a light meter, it'll be the selenium, But the shutter works, but I've never fired a frame with it. But that's the only mechanical Nikon film camera I have. It was part of the deal when I got these lenses. It was just in the box with them. So I think it had a 50 millimeter on it when I bought it. There's that aperture feeler, or the little peg that drives the fork on these lenses that no one uses anymore. This one still has it. Let's see what we got here. Peter Nagy, how you doing? Glad you're in. Look, there's ADVR, the best mount. Yeah. Adrian had some adventures in 35 millimeter lenses lately. He has lived hard recently. Did you get that lens working? I think if I'm understanding right, you got it fixed. Nice camera. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, if the seals are any count, let's see. Open it again. That's the rewind button. Don't you just pull this up? Yeah, there it goes. Yeah. Then the seals are non-existent. I get the light on it. Yeah, there is zero foam in these sealing surfaces. This would be a light leaking monster till you replaced all them seals. Every single one of them's gone. All of them in the body are missing. They're all gone. I use it for decoration in the living room. It sits over there on the end table with an old lens and an old light meter. Light meter works, and the lens probably works. It's one of them Prince lenses, Printz. It's an interesting lens. It's huge. Let's see. Gary Arbuckle. Got to go, David. Thank you for Gary for coming by. Appreciate you sticking around with me. Time to shoot some football tonight. Ah, cool. Take care, y'all. Leave the cap alone. Yeah, we're back to the cap. Yeah, I think I figured it out. It goes just like that. Yes. Don Jones is nice camera. Thank you, Don. Appreciate that. The hat. Oh, tasty. I love an EL. You'd love one of these? This thing is like, it needs a lot of TLC. It's very heavy, by the way. Recently got the FT3, which needs new seals, but otherwise is working properly. Yeah, I'm noticing that a lot here lately. There's a lot of these cameras coming out of closets that need a lot of new foam light seals. Very informative info. Thank you. You're welcome. There's a little flap inside the mirror box that you lift up. Battery goes in there. For real? Holy crap, I see it. It's, oh, it'd be easier to go in the back. No, the shutter's in the way. I can't go that way. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Yeah, there's a little tiny, good grief. Here we go with that again. How about I just bring some light to the party? There we go. Down in there, under the mirror, is a little, look at that. It's that little door. Somehow I got to get that little flap to come out. Looks like it slides forward. It's got a little tab to pull, looks like. Are you sure? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it moves straight forward. I see it now. Yeah. I think I see the electrical contact. Man, who thought of that? Thought of that? Absolutely. I'll take the battery out. Wow, man, that's incredible. I would have never guessed it was in there. Yeah, it's there. Woo! Interesting. Oldie but a goodie. Very easy to convert. Don't need any new parts. Just take a part and file off. I did the 51.4. Luckily, I have an older one, and I can compare how far I have to go. Oh, yeah. Okay. Long time ago, I sold all of my old stuff. Yeah, I did the same thing. And I have mixed emotions about it. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I did because at the time that gear sat in the closet and it just sat there. Once I got my D7000, because that was my first Nikon interchangeable lens camera, that was a DSLR. It was cutting edge when I bought it. I think I got it in 2012. It was a great camera. I shot with that camera for 2 years regularly and loved it. Um, then I got big central fever and bought the D810 when it came out and sold my D7000. But right after I probably had that D7000 6 or 7 months, I realized I was not going to shoot with my old Yashica film camera anymore and all of its associated lenses. I had 5 lenses with it. Give me a second, guys. Hello. Hey. No. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll work on that. Love you. See you in a minute. Bye. But she interrupted it sufficiently. So I'm going to have to sign off in a minute. Let me go through these comments and give you guys a minute to say anything that you wanted to if you haven't got to yet. Well, to finish my story, I sold all that Yashica gear for like $100, some kind of ridiculously cheap price. But looking back, I'm glad I did because I really wouldn't have used it until I got a mirrorless camera when I would have drug the lenses out and bought adapters. But the camera still wouldn't have been used because I'm just not really super into shooting film anymore. And I've got several film cameras. I got a nice Minolta X700. Then if I want to shoot 35 millimeter, I just get it out. It's a beautiful little camera. The light seals are good in it and it just works really well. But by selling it, I got it into the hands of a photographer that would use it. Somebody actually is shooting with it, and hopefully they're still using it. So I don't really, I wanted to keep it, but it was just, it kind of felt good to know that somebody's going to use it. Watch out for the mirror. Do the mirror lockup. Yeah, okay. The EL is a good solid camera, nice meter, and it's a Copal shutter. The shutter's it's got like looks like vertical curtains and like 3 or 4 of them together. I saw them in there. I ain't touching it. It's gonna damage it. Don says he had a D7100. It was a great 2 Halliburton cases. Wow, that's awesome. Digital Handle, although I joined late, thanks for the stream. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you stopping by. Enjoyed the stream. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. So, yeah, you guys, until next time, what am I going to tell you to do? Get your camera out and go take a picture with it. All right. We'll see you later. Y'all take care. And I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. So, talk to y'all soon. As soon as I figure out how to turn off this new stream. Hit that like. Yeah, there you go. Thanks. The hat says, at Don Jones, fellow D7100 shooter here. I love the thing. I fell on it onto a gravel a few weeks back. Not a scratch on it. Really? Wow. Interesting. Wow, that's cool. Trying to consider something. But yeah, see you guys later. Thank you. Bye-bye.